coins?
I'm going to the moon, dude.
Doge?
Literal and physical. We're going to the moon. I don't talk finances on my Instagram or YouTube, but I don't know how much Doge you guys got, but I'm going to the moon.
But
Literal.
I didn't it just tank though?
Yeah, but
little
he,
bit.
then-
By 30% tank.
All coins up right now pretty good, though.
Yeah, it's
Let's
going
give
ham.
them- Yeah.
and he also announced that he's going to fund a shuttle to the moon with it.
Yeah, that's
Of course
dope.
he is.
And I have,
That's
I'm not
dope.
going to say how much I have on there. I got a lot.
I got money in Litecoin.
Okay, that's moving.
Decentraland, which is I'll explain in a second, and just regular Bit. And I'm up a little decent amount right now.
The more I'm
But
reading
I was
about
down for a second.
Yeah, like from 2017 to this year, it was all sloop. But the more I'm reading on it, the more I am kind of into it. I do think we're in a mini
We're in a weird spot.
internet revolution-y spot.
Yeah, the Doge is very interesting. I'm on Coinbase. They don't support Doge.
Yeah.
They don't. You can't trade Doge.
I have
on
like 20 apps now
really
to get different little shits, you know, because each one has a different one.
my crazy weird coin that I have money in. It's called Decentraland.
Yeah.
It is a coin that's used to purchase land in VR.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
No, that's it. 10 years from now, that's
Dude, yeah.
fucking
So
it.
you basically use it to in the VR realm you can buy like
Don't tell Kyle.
miles.
Don't
of
tell
land.
Kyle. He's going to go bankrupt.
And you know what? It was like up like 20% a couple of weeks ago, and then it's kind of been lingering. I've made money on it. Let's put it that way. It's weird.
No, Ready Player 2 or 3 and 4 are on the way, and
Dude.
I'm going to be in it.
Decentraland. Yeah, this is not any financial advice to put any money in any coins.
Yeah, we
But that's
need
what I've
that
done.
advisor. We don't have that advisor.
Yeah.
I sold everything I had to buy this place, so that's not true. But it's a lot of it's true. Actually, the weird thing is I kept pulling stuff out last year, thinking like, oh, it's all going to crash anyway, and so I'm just going to pull some cash out, and then we'll spend it on stuff here, and it like just kept refilling. Like
Yeah.
the amount that
super
I
fun.
pulled out bears no relation to the amount that should have been left
Mm-hmm.
had I pulled it all out at the same
So
time.
good happened.
So yeah, good stuff happened.
Yeah.
Crypto's going to ham. I really do like reading about it. And now that I still am a moron, but I understand like 10% of it.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm
Which is
doing
a-
it just to keep an eye on what's going on. It keeps me connected with it.
Yeah.
And if shit starts to get really weird, then maybe I'll do like more research. Then I'll be like 40% knowing what I'm doing.
I just don't want to be my dad and mom who like had no clue about the internet until everyone owned a computer.
yeah.
And that's nothing on them. They're just
No,
my
it's
dad was
generational.
a salesman and my mom was a teacher. They didn't a Spanish teacher, from a school that doesn't use computers still. So like it had no relation. But in our world, even this podcast, like who knows what coin's going to show up that makes podcasts more available or pays us per download
Yeah,
more.
they're talking about
there's for sure.
NFTs of podcasts,
Right.
which is a weird concept.
Right.
So sort of two things in my mind that I have learned recently. One of them is the sheer energy requirement of mining
Mostly bit
digital coin, mostly
Yeah.
bit, but still.
Yeah.
But the other one is the relationship to blockchain.
Yeah.
And how that works and how why blockchain is so revolutionary.
Yeah.
Because we have all of these financial systems and their reason to be is recording transactions.
Right.
Like that's their whole thing. If you take that's Fight Club. Like if you take away the ability to record transactions and all the transactions that have been recorded before, then you start over from scratch. Blockchain is just recording all these transactions, but is doing it outside of the current financial systems.
Yeah.
And it's coded, so if something fucks up,
Right.
Like it's built-in security.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
All theoretically, providing some evil, totalitarian doesn't get hold
And I've
of
never ripped one apart. I've never built one, but I was looking into mining those bitches too.
Well, that's why all the graphics cards are like so hard to get for
Yeah.
like PC gaming because they're all being used to mine coins.
They're literally
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, you can't buy anything. It's all on.
Literally
You can go on StockX, pay 3 times the price
Yeah.
for one, but
But I don't know the energy on all coins because each coin's different. But that's kind of that's why they compare Bitcoin to gold because it is a standard that started this thing. And not that it's irrelevant, but it's so slow to build. Like it'll take you months to build one now in a billion GPUs, where Ethereum or Cardano or some of these newer coins. And hey, we're all morons here. One day we're gonna get a real crypto guy here to explain it to you guys because I'm fucking 50% facts turned to 5% facts. Those you can mine quicker, safer, faster, energy more efficient. And that's why they're like the new evolution supposedly of it. But that's not what we're talking about today.
crazy.
No.
We're talking about steroids.
Talking
Yeah.
about steroids.
I told Jim And I think I walked in on your guys' conversation how you watched this movie, and then like even just doing these with you guys makes me really watch a movie.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it the first time. We're talking about Icarus today, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Fogel. I liked it, and I liked it a lot. But we're into fitness, and we're kind of into weightlifting, and we're into the Olympics, and we're kind of. So I was like, oh, maybe that's why I liked it. And I also liked it that it starts one way and turns into a whole nother investigation story.
It turns like. All of a sudden you're like, oh wait, this is something totally different.
No cycling involved, like besides the steroids. And then, but watching it this time, I left thinking this is my favorite and maybe best documentary I've ever seen.
It's damn good.
Because to me, you need a subject matter that kind of matters, or you care about, or has some relevancy, some weight to it, right? You need a story to follow. Because a lot of documentaries I start to watch, they just throw shit facts at you all day.
Random interviews.
Yeah, everyone telling me why broccoli is important. Like, shut up, like tell me about the broccoli farm or head somewhere. And then 3, this one got me thinking more like Jim probably. Visually, like audio wise, it was all kind of actually stimulating, which I didn't realize the first time I watched it. Even if they do a little graphic or a little animation, they do here and there when they're showing how they're actually cheating. It was really well done without being corny. Because I tried to watch a couple documentaries yesterday with my mom, and I just literally like, I can't watch this.
Like the newer like Pumping Iron style. Like the
it was kind of like a newer version of Pumping Iron. Because even Pumping Iron's little animations and whatever, I didn't mind. This one, they weren't. I don't know, sometimes, or how it's shot, or the interviews, you just look there like, this is so corny, I can't watch this. And there's none of that in here. And in the beginning part, especially, when, if those, we got to build a thing, like, should we tell these people to watch it before us or after us that are listening?
Well,
what do you think's better?
I don't think it matters one way or the other, to tell you the truth. But like, there'll
be spoilers.
There's some nuance and spoilers to what we're going to talk about that if you haven't seen it are going to bug you. But we... you might come out of this deciding to watch it.
We can't tell it as good as it's shown.
No.
You're better off. But in the beginning, the cycling scenes,
when
he talks about how difficult this is as an amateur thing, they have some sick fucking shots of climbing that mountain in the rain. And that's something I totally forgot about in the first one.
I wonder who he paid the first time he did it when he was an amateur, when he got like the 14th place, like, because he had good footage from that.
He must have had funding somewhere, right?
I wondered, was this always his plan to film this one first race and then go on this journey?
Probably.
You know what I mean?
I mean, having hung out with documentary filmmakers and knowing some, like the idea is that you start shooting on something that may or may not pan out,
right? Because
you have the ability to do that. I mean, part of it is that once you have the cameras, getting somebody to operate it, not that big a deal. Sound, I don't know, was in that first race, when that sort of flashback race, I don't know that there was much sound involved in that.
It could have been also because it was such a huge race. Maybe that's just footage that they collect of like all the riders that are interested, and they just got them. Yeah.
I do feel like the base idea of the movie is I'm a okay cyclist.
He was more than okay. He was pretty damn good.
Okay on the pro level. Top amateur. He's a top amateur. I'm going to do a race, and then I'm going to take steroids and do the race again. I think you could pitch just that idea to someone. Even like,
I think that he did.
No, what I'm saying, that's why he had the funding.
Sure.
That's a good idea. That's even like me in lifting. Like, all right, I've done these numbers for 12 years. His story's similar to mine. I've done this 12 years, and I'm still very mediocre amateur powerlifter. Let me hop on some shit, try to beat a test, and see what I can do. Like, that would go viral as well.
Yeah,
even though it's like literal copy.
Yeah. So just let's talk about structure for just a second. This sucker is directed, written, and everything else by Bryan Fogel. It was released in 2017, and it actually won the Academy Award for feature-length documentary.
Yeah, which I didn't know.
In 2018. From a structural standpoint, the first maybe third of the movie is about this quest of his to see if he can get better using steroids and beat tests.
All kind of based around Lance Armstrong. A lot of reference.
All based around Lance Armstrong.
Were they trying to like almost replicate what they have from the information that they do have of how he did it?
Right.
Yeah, you got to Google for me, Jim. Did this come out after or before Armstrong Lies? It obviously came out after like the Oprah interview, which I think was the first big
His
break.
Coming Clean interview.
Yeah, that's Oprah, right?
I don't remember.
I think that was the first one where he's like, "Yeah, I fucking cheated."
Yeah.
I don't know if
there's
you guys,
footage of that in this movie,
right? I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Armstrong Lies is one of the few where he participates in the documentary because there's a million on him cheating, but that might be a good one for us to do too.
2013, The Armstrong Lie.
All right, so we should.
So it was before.
Yeah, so because this ties into that a ton, obviously, but in that they kind of talk about how he cheats, and he maybe not him, but like his teammate talks about how he cheats. So it feels like they threw Fogel kind of an underhand pitch on how to cheat.
And that probably sparked his
right
idea into doing his own little
because they dig into the Italian chemist. They dig into who's the guy in Palo Alto, or the lab.
Balco.
Balco. They tap into Balco.
I've met that guy.
Yeah, they kind of wiggle it around.
I read that. That was like one of the first books I read when I was younger. That was like about stuff like kind of documentary style, kind of like coming out like with like story stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
That one about Barry Bonds, the Balco conspiracy book.
Barry still says,
League of Shadows.
Yes.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yes, that's the one. I couldn't think of it. It's literally been probably 15 years since I read it.
Barry never says he did nothing, right?
That's correct.
Love that.
Oh, yeah, he's just going taking it to the moon.
Yeah. Well, as we'll see, he's very Putin-esque in that way.
Yeah.
Bonds.
Yeah.
They're just deny.
Yeah.
It is true. Yeah, and so was Lance for a very long time.
Yeah.
I feel like
it crumbled in on him though, in part because USPS was his sponsor.
Yeah.
And then like nothing squeakier clean than the post office.
Yeah.
You know, and they were going to sue him because there was enough.
Yeah. What a huge story that has gotten forgotten only 7 years ago. Like every single person had that yellow wristband.
Oh, I had multiple.
And people like, and it's hard to say, right? Because like, yeah, he's a fucking cheater.
Had the T-shirts,
everything. Like the cultural impact of a cyclist. Like that's
weird.
unheard of.
It was weird.
Everyone started watching cycling. I didn't, but everyone, all my friends, I was like, you're going to watch some dude's bike? Like, that's fucking weird. Because the cultural phenomena was insane.
It was,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Jim. No.
Oh, it's crazy, too, because they actually did good work, too. It totally.
Sure, no. So,
and they still exist.
That's what I was going to say.
He just doesn't have anything to do with it anymore.
That's what I was going to say. Like, yeah, he cheated. And then the argument, and they brought it up in the movie, too, is like, well, everyone else is on. And that's kind of a cheapskate argument. Like, just because Dean killed somebody, I'm going to go kill somebody. Like, everyone's killing people. Like, I'm going to go murder somebody. But if you're trying to be the best and you're trying to go and you're talented enough and you can't keep up, it's such a balancing beam. And then it erased all the awesome shit he did for cancer, which sucks.
And he legitimately had like a really bad testicular cancer. It was in his lungs, and you know, his recovery was nothing short of miraculous.
It just sucks that. And it's still, social media is the same way. I'm the same way. As you always judge a human by that is a good human, that is a bad human. And can't Lance Armstrong make a mistake or not have a different moral line about steroids, but still be a really good human?
Yeah.
But right? I think so, but we don't see it that way. I still don't even see it that way, even though when I think about it, I do. We always just judge, you cheated, he's a cheater.
I think I'm pretty jaded with like, especially with weightlifting, you know, it's like, weightlifting's like the dirtiest sport there is, like as far as like the highest levels, and I accept that and I still watch it.
Right.
So I think with me, like even like with the cycling, it's like you kind of just know, but it's still good. It's like the NFL.
Yeah.
Like come on.
Yeah. So this stuff, the Armstrong lies goes into kind of the chemical compounds of, not like detailed obviously, but they talk about that and how he cycles on and off and how he skips a piss test, and it's kind of barbaric compared to what Grigory talks about.
Yeah.
Grigory's fucking Mission Impossible 5.
Yeah.
He's got some crazy shit. He's timing the cameras and he's fucking doing all this crazy shit. So imagine what the NFL does. Probably 1% of that, I would imagine, or whatever.
Does the NFL even test them?
Once a year?
Well, that's the thing is like they claim, and same with NC2A, and same with baseball, and same with WWE claims it. We've interviewed the guy who's in charge of it at the UFC, CrossFit. I'm kind of jaded as well, just because we've all been in this a long time. We've met people, we've talked to people.
Yeah.
And so it does kind of puts a ugh on all of it for me, but I still watch it all.
Yeah, for sure.
I just don't think about it, I think.
Yeah. That's more what I meant.
Yeah,
So
which I don't think is healthy either. I just suppress that all this is going on. Meanwhile, I'm over here struggling, pulling 500 pounds.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Well, the underlying question that nobody asks is, what if you just didn't care?
You talking morally or the organizations?
The organizations.
Yeah.
So what if
Open
you
it
just
up.
said,
Yeah,
just open it up, and because there's so much time and effort and money spent on trying to police it.
Yeah.
and people are still cheating anyway, and it takes years to find out, and maybe it doesn't really matter that much.
Well, I think that's basically where we've came as like you Americans with football, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when was the last time you heard anybody get caught for steroids in football?
Yeah, never.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. It happens in baseball.
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah, I was going to
still.
say the 3 sports that are leading the way there, and sport in quotations, WWE. They supposedly test, but there's some motherfuckers still. Like, obviously in the early 2000s, right? But now even, you're like, all right, bro. 2 would be strongman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they probably claim they test, but they don't say what, how, or whatever.
It's probably independent. It's not USADA.
And that's all of them, right? Like CrossFit.
Independent, yeah.
All these people say they follow USADA or WADA rules, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
So they're not going to pop their number 1 guy. They're losing sales,
I don't
right?
think so.
I don't think so either. But every year, and I'll get into my own conspiracies later,
Mm-hmm.
Strongman, IFBB, who I believe says they test as well, which is pro bodybuilding for those out there. Like anyone you've ever heard of is probably in IFBB, which is, we call it untested, but I think it is quote unquote tested, but they might test for cocaine for all we know.
Yeah.
Those 3 are kind of leading the way with Jim's idea. Like, fucking let it rock.
Yeah, well, but just it's so much easier if you just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because like this guy totally proves that on n equals 1 basis, if you use, you're not necessarily going to get better. He did have a malfunction.
That's unfortunate because like there was a lot of buildup for that, and then his bike like breaks, and you're like, oh man, could he have done it?
Right. I think that's
and it's unanswered.
Yeah.
Yeah. That so in the movie he redoes the exact same race. They don't mention if the competitors are the exact same, right? This is such a loose experiment.
Conditions.
They didn't talk about the conditions, and the sport itself is so dependent. Weightlifting, kilo, bar, right?
Yeah.
So if I take stuff, I'm going to be a better lifter.
Well, wasn't his training numbers were significantly better?
Super better.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so many.
His controlled environment testing was
That's where I was saying.
20% up.
Right. He's cycling in
So
his
he-
living room.
So he definitely worked.
Right. But there's more
But that wasn't the
factors.
question.
Right. There's more factors. So same thing. Like if you give LeBron James steroids, is he going to be better? I don't know. There's so many more variables in basketball. Obviously, number 1, opponent. There's no opponent in weightlifting. You lift weight or you don't lift weight. You get whites or you get reds, right? So there's so many variables that float around. I don't know if cycling is the best for the overall experiment. And then the only other argument is fighting sports or combat sports for Jim's argument. People think, or even football, people say, and who knows how many people are on
That's
versus
also
not.
positional. Yeah, you can make the argument. It doesn't probably matter. But
Right.
like we're talking like, you know, a D lineman, or I mean, a offensive lineman versus a
Just
defensive
head-to-head.
lineman going head to head with each other. One's juiced to the gills, one's not. One's probably going to get pushed around a little bit more.
Yeah. Genetics play a role, and then the danger factor in combat or football, right?
Yeah.
Are the hits going to get harder? If Dean hits me harder because he's on and I'm off, am I then protected more if I'm on and he's on? Right? Does it kind of
Probably not.
probably
You
not?
can convince yourself that
Maybe
to get
though.
on.
You could.
Yeah. Oh, easily.
Yeah. I think that, well, just as an aside, I think that any time that somebody talks about steroids and says that there's not, side effects and there's no psychological effects, it's complete bullshit.
Yeah.
It's complete bullshit.
I don't know why that is, and that's everything in life, right? Anyone who's on downplays the good and the bad,
And the bad.
and anyone who's off always plays up the good of steroids, right? Like this, like, well, Dean wouldn't be able to clean 100 kilos without his roids. That's the little Timmy that's not on, right?
Yeah.
Like it's always like that. And Dean, like, well, I clean 195 without, like, right? It just always goes that way, and that's just humans being bitches, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that, damn, I have so many tabled points, but one of them has to be that the impression of this film is that it is very much the nationalistic drive and not an individual drive to cheat and succeed.
For sure.
And that is the one that we probably see the most and probably have seen the most and can, identify the most is people who are willing to cheat in tested federations or whatever. And that actually brings us back around to USAPL and USADA and WADA. The USAPL may end up breaking from the IPF over WADA.
How strict? Yeah. It is interesting. They do play that so hard, and I feel bad for some of the athletes in Russia, but then I don't. Like they interview or watch a clip from that pole vaulter crying, saying that she doesn't go to the Olympics. I'm like, well, you didn't know? You didn't know those needles going in your arm were illegal?
Yeah.
You know, like she looked like she was over 25.
It's the A-Rod. I thought it was just B12.
Yeah. We're like,
I thought I was taking B12 shots.
Right, and Jim's right. In America, I think it would be more difficult, although possible. We have a huge USADA scam, but it's more on the individual. But that's also the kind of country we are too.
Yeah.
Right. Like generally speaking, if you go back and
rugged
forth,
individualist steroid use.
Yeah, I'm just not convinced the Russian athletes didn't say, "Yeah, I want to win. Jack me up."
I mean, part of it is that they're sort of conscripted into sport.
Yeah.
Some people are very much conscripted into sport, and they're just sort of given this, and this is what you're going to do, and then the repercussions of failure and the repercussions of not following the program are potentially separate things. Maybe you're not as good as they think you're going to be, even using whatever performance enhancing drug they
and the
stick
mental,
you with.
and the mental, right? The identity stuff.
Yeah.
Even in Australia, which isn't even close to the level of competition some of our stuff is. Like my buddy plays pro basketball there. He went to the Sweet 16, everything here in St. Mary's College in America, and I think in like 7th grade they ship you off to boarding school, and it's called AIS. It's Australia Institute of Sport. Like, yeah, he has regular education, but basically in 7th grade they said you're going to be a big.
We're gonna filter through the talent.
We don't have that anywhere here.
No,
you like maybe one or two boarding random schools, but everyone you ever hear of, the LeBron James, the whatever, they went to like a regular private-ish Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike and I were talking about this earlier. If there is a drive in the United States that is anything similar to Russia saying, we need to have this kind of performance on the world stage as part of our nationalistic goals, I don't know about it.
Yeah, I think.
I mean,
my point was that I think
we like to win a lot.
Yeah.
But if we place really okay, if we're 2 or 3 in the medals, it's like, that was pretty good.
I do wonder though if that would switch if we sucked at everything. Like we dominate pretty hard. Like overall medals every year, winter and summer, we're at least top.
I think we're also one of the few countries that have our own separate sports that we really care about, right? Like baseball, and like American football.
And we just know we're the best.
And so it's like we care about that stuff. Like soccer, like we'll just steal some players from all over the country, put them on our team, call it the USA team.
But and opposite that's like the one women's sport that we're fucking
that's
dominant
true.
and
That's
raw about.
That's
true.
Yeah.
But basketball, like even the dream team, like came back and shit on people, but we sent amateurs forever just cause.
Right.
Yeah.
Like because we just didn't care.
Like it's kind of the same with baseball. Baseball is getting pretty competitive now, even though everyone's sort of using professional players.
Yeah, and people from everywhere. But like I think Dean's right. If we didn't. We care more about the Lakers than if they win or not.
Yeah.
At least in the sports that we care about. And we love a Michael Phelps story. And we love some of this. The gymnastics team has actually made pretty revolutionary pop media stuff in America, I would say, for our girls. But
we call the pinnacle of baseball the World Series, but it doesn't involve the world.
They have a World Cup too, yeah? Yeah. And then even for soccer, I think around the world, people that are more football fans, international football, they care more about the World Cup often. Like even the Olympics, I don't know if the rule is still the same, but it used to be 25 and under, and then you get like 2 dudes over 25. So you're basically sending amateurs.
Yeah.
Where the World Cup, you're sending your best fucking dudes.
Yeah. There is like an age cap.
Yeah. So, even for them, it's based in the rules, it's secondary to the World Cup.
So back to the structure. At probably about a third of the way in, the whole thing turns and becomes a different movie. That it's like, what's it called? Citizen what? Citizen 4. It's like the Snowden documentary.
Okay.
It turns very much into that.
Yeah.
Where it's all this clandestine filming.
It's kind of like after the failure of the race, almost, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Shift gears.
Yeah. He goes to Russia. Hangs out with the guy, and the guy's like, I don't know. Like, maybe there could be an investigation. I don't know.
Before that?
I could be in trouble. I don't know.
Even in the Skypes, and maybe it's just me. I don't think so, though. How likable is Grigory?
Oh, he's awesome.
He's a wild card.
I fucking love him, dude.
Yeah, he's wild.
Like, that's the uncle you always wanted. He's kind of passing you beers when you're 15 kind of guy. Like, but laughing it off. Being safe, but laughing it off.
Yeah.
Like the whole time he's so confident. It's like, yo, you'll be great. You're going to crush this race and you're going to pass the drug test. And I got you. Don't worry. But,
you believe everything he's saying. He's like, no problem.
He's so positive. He's so confident. I love him.
Well, here's the thing. He says, look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me, Bryan. Look at me. And anytime that's ever happened to you, like, you get chills, regardless of what, because they're attending to you so closely. And then later in the movie, when he's depressed about the things that are going on, I don't know if it's Bryan or if it's somebody else says, Gregory, look at me.
Yeah.
Like when he's not responding and
yeah.
he's in the room with the attorneys and stuff, look at me.
Yeah. It was
Like,
Fogel. I think it was Fogel.
Yeah, I was like, whew. His charisma.
Yeah, he's good.
Like, yeah, he could be a fucking pathological liar, but he's got that skill.
So that's what starts to get to me, right? This second time, I watched the movie probably 3 times. First 2 were back in 2017 or whatever, and this last time. And the first time, I think I was still just soaking it all in, and I was fucking Team Gregory because I liked him so much. And then this last time, I think my eyes opened a little bit, and not that Russia doesn't have some dirtiness going on, but the story of Gregory hit me a little bit harder in the mental health. And it's so hard to confuse.
I wasn't.
You weren't convinced at all?
No,
not even
I wasn't.
1%.
Maybe 1%, but dude, like they get you with the computer dated files and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Of those conversations that he was having with people. Like, you can't fake that stuff.
No.
True.
And also, WADA was like 100% certainty, like with our own investigation. Like, this guy's like legit.
Yeah.
And the co people in that meeting, the lady's crying like, you don't think I'm fucking upset that my whole company's basically a piece of shit?
And these people are dying left and right.
Yeah.
That were like working with him.
Yeah.
Of heart conditions.
Yeah.
So just for clarity, the guy that we're talking about was the head of anti-doping.
Yeah. RUSADA.
Yes.
The appointed head of WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency, which runs for sure the Olympics, but probably even the World Cup or other things.
Yeah, and any of those the qualifiers, Olympic qualifiers.
Which
like
I
that.
think from day one already feels weird to me, and we'll see how
In
deep
part
we go.
because the guy who used to run it was called Dick Pound. That was an issue.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
But how many? Yeah, why don't? That's when you go by Richard, buddy. You definitely go by Richard.
You don't run that one. No.
Rick, okay.
The other one,
Dick, no.
The other one is it Law and Order? It's Dick Wolf or Wolf Dick.
See, that's kind of cool. It's a lot better.
I'm okay with that one.
Which already from one, and maybe I'm just too like on the nose, but like, why do you appoint your own people in a competitive sport? And I guess everyone would say morals, trust. But you're appointing a Russian to handle Russian anti-doping. You're appointing an American to handle American anti-doping. Already from base one seems like a conflict of interest to me.
However,
how don't we flip those up? Why aren't we in charge of Canada and Canada in charge of us?
Because we have trouble doing that with nuclear weapons. I mean, it's everywhere. Like any actually kind of weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things is negotiating, having overseers from other countries come in, or the United Nations.
Yeah,
but nuclear.
Everybody's paranoid that someone's going to try and sabotage.
Right. And obviously that's what makes the Olympics all weird, anyways, right? Because we just for 10 days we decided to forget politics, forget all the wars we've had, and be buddies and fence each other.
Unless you're Putin, and then you start one right after you have your best year.
Exactly. That's something that happens in here. So at the point that it turns and he starts being investigated, and the whole program starts being investigated for multiple cheating situations relative to PEDs, that's when they say the title card turns into chapter 1 or part 1 or whatever, part 1, I guess. And all of that's out of George Orwell, 1984. Mm-hmm. And there's an Orwell quote at the beginning, and then that's really the like literary through line, which is brilliant.
Yeah, that was good.
It was brilliant. I have a book at home that I was actually going to bring. It's very cool. It's called The Commissar Vanishes. It's about propaganda in Soviet Russia, and about how like this person was like a hero of the state, and they're pictured here with this person and this person and this person, and how over time these people fall out of favor, and they just edit the photo. And then that person's gone, and then this person's gone, and then it's a different person in here, and there's a lot of that in this film. It underlies the whole like you could just disappear if you fall out of favor, but
that's how the story is rooted in Gregory, right? Like he ends up in jail, then he ends up in like an insane asylum. It sounds like that wasn't very pleasant.
They also, the images of coming back to your point on like, do I believe him?
Yeah.
Like, were those official images of like the pee dump holes in the walls?
Oh yeah.
Were those from that building?
I don't know. Yeah.
Or are those just examples?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Fogel was in that building.
So then, sounds like it.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, if all that shit's checking out.
You know what I thought was too casual is when they're first riding in, and maybe it's just Gregory's demeanor. He's kind of like a memer in a way. Like they're driving into his lab, and he is the boss.
Right.
But he's like, yeah, maybe you should watch the camera. And they're just fucking filming it like it's Disney World. Like I would be scared shitless.
Those guys in the van that kind of, they even look at, you can even see that they catch eyes with
I
them.
wouldn't even want to vlog like what I'm eating in Russia. I'd be scared shitless. And this dude Fogel's got the testicular fortitude to just film this lab that is the center of this.
And this building across the way is like owned by the KGB.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, this KGB, he just hides a camera. I'm like, what the fuck? I wouldn't even bring a camera. I'd be so scared.
Well, the whole time I'm thinking, is this like suicide by camera?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, we know he had a suicide attempt, and he now is like, fuck it. But he's worried about his wife and kids, but not on the level that I would have been.
Well, and that's where the balance starts to get weird too politically, and the lawyer starts to talk to Gregory, and I think it's a look at me moment when he says like, should we tell this story? And Gregory's like, I must tell the story because he almost feels safer hiding in plain sight than hiding because if he goes dark, then the world doesn't know a story. They could kill him easy. But if the world kind of knows a story, at least suspicion will drive up.
And also the fact that, the U.S., if the U.S. government is putting you in witness protection, they probably have a good idea that what you're saying is probably legit. I don't think they're going to spend those resources and that time and manpower to protect you if they just think you're some crazy person who's making this shit up.
You know, another part that's weird, and we're already way deep in this thing, but a part that's weird to me is Gregory said the FBI came to hang out with him or question him at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Why would they do that? This dude's shitted out of his mind. If you're just FBI, you could dress like me and Dean and just show up at noon and pretend that we're real friends. Like, hey, Gregory, we need to chat. You go inside and then you just have coffee and then you have a real conversation. Like, you don't got to show up like Men in Black at 4 a.m. and freak this poor dude out.
That's what USADA does.
Yeah, that's true. They choose random times so you're not hiding.
They'll come in your house at like 3 a.m.
But I think
I've heard stories.
But I think the FBI interview, not that they were on Gregory's team, but they were just trying to do like international relations. I guess maybe they would be scared during the day he would run or something, I guess, or not be there. But it just seems like how much I did a FBI interview. I probably can't talk about too much of it. One of my friends was doing like a high political job. And so they told me that I'm going to get interviewed, but this is like 7 months later. It went out of my head. Mm-hmm. And then I get a call at like 8 a.m. Hey, so-and-so with the FBI, I'm in front of your house. And I'm like, oh, I'm fucking going to jail. I don't know what I did wrong. I'm going to jail. And then I let them in, and they're super nice to show me their badge and just sit at my table for 10 minutes and ask me silly questions. But how terrified is poor Gregory when he knows he's involved in this shit?
Yeah.
I had nothing on me. I've never done anything.
Right.
I haven't even ran a red light, but I was still scared shitless that FBI's in front of my house.
I don't, this has no racial connotation on it whatsoever. It just has to do with authority figures. When you're driving and there's a cop directly behind you, you get very self-conscious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you don't think anything's going to happen to you and you're not doing anything wrong.
Human nature.
Yeah. It's human nature. You're nervous about it.
I have that time.
Dot your T's, cross your I's, and you're like, when you're driving, you're trying to like be extra careful.
Yeah. I've always been like that. Like even in my little hippie school, I remember in the 3rd grade, I get so scared if my teacher looks at me or writes my name on the board. Like that's strike one.
It's authority, right?
Yeah, I hate it.
Authority,
Yeah, for sure.
And now you're in a different country. You are involved with the scandal. Yeah. You know a lot of shit. You're probably used to, who knows? I've never been, but rumor has it KGB ain't very nice. And Gregory's used to dealing with people like that. He's probably scared shitless.
I thought it was really funny how often that the Russians just called it KGB, even though it's not called the KGB anymore.
I feel like it's just like it's a general understanding that they're just still referred to as KGB.
Yeah, it's still the
it's
KGB.
Funny.
Yeah. I thought that it was interesting the way that Fogel turned into basically his interface with the rest of the world.
Yeah, almost like his lawyer at the same time.
PR, lawyer, manager.
Yeah. Like he turned into
and cop. Like he was protecting him. Like, hey, I'm going to move you in here. Like, where the fuck did he move him? Fogel, where are you so sneaky? Well, I wouldn't know what to do.
He started as an observer and a client. And he turned into like an observer participant.
Yeah.
Like he was as in the middle of the story. As you see in the 3rd part, they use conversations and emails and stuff that went back and forth between the two of them as part of the case against this guy being, telling the truth.
Right.
Like there was part of the Russian disinformation campaign. And man, that's an interesting decision on his part. Like, was he driven by what he could get out of it for the movie?
Right.
Or was he driven?
I was just going to question. I was going to ask you that. What you thought? That's
even in the beginning. I think it's weird. Like this guy, so he has like a drug guy, and then he goes to Grigory to pass the drug test. But he has a guy giving him his drugs, right?
Yeah,
that doctor or whatever, right?
Yeah, he got prescribed.
Right. And I'm sure the off-cam conversation was slightly different than just, hey, I can't get a boner, right? Like the guy knows he's kind of doing this stuff, so he kind of has his drug protocol, and then he gets Grigory to beat the test supposedly, and then like who knows the timeline? It might have said, but then he's like in Grigory's house. And they're joking about their dog. And then, you know what I mean? Like, even that step is kind of a stretch to get yourself involved with the guy that's just a random Russian I've Skyped with that's giving my drug protocol, and now I'm going to go to his house, and then he's going to come to my house, and now we're best friends doing slumber parties.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing about the timeline of the movie, and I'll get back to your question in a second. That the beginning of it, he is talking about going into a race that's in 2015.
Yes, I think.
And then he backs up to the race that was in 2014, and then it's back to the contemporary,
15, 16 ish,
and then it runs out into 16, and then it backs up again to 14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you understand how the London Olympics,
right,
and Sochi.
Well, in the beginning, they were just talking the 80s, kind of, right? They were just talking the 80s, and then they were just talking, we just cheated Sochi, and then Grigory's like, nah, like this has been going on since the 60s, 50s,
yeah, 1968.
He was participating himself.
Yeah, he said 30 to 50. Yeah, he talks about his own track pass,
his own steroid use.
My point of the slumber party, though, is to answer your question, Dean, or my hypothesis on the answer is that I think Fogel just one movie probably, but if it's this stuff's sketchy. This isn't like
this is big allegations. You're talking about like the leader of a country is orchestrating this massive scandal to win gold medals.
Who's known for killing people for less.
Yeah.
And you're going to throw your head in there. I think he actually...
Well, then you're also accusing him of murder in this documentary.
100%. Yeah. I think he's actually just loved Grigory.
I think
that's what's really driving him to be the protector, to fly there. Why would you fly to Russia in the first place? I think he just got along so well and liked the dude that he felt so close and a responsibility to tell his story.
Yeah, I think that actually the question is, why did either one of these guys go forward with this level of disclosure for a documentary?
Grigory sometimes makes sense because it is true. Like he might have just... If he just stays in Russia, he just gets his house broken into and killed.
It was almost like this was the best possible thing that could have happened to Grigory, or else he probably would have just been a dead man.
Like the other,
it was all crashing down anyways.
Right.
So
this guy just happens to come in and like during this time of this huge collapse.
That's
kind of crazy.
It is.
So if because there was suspicion around doping,
right,
and there was the potential for investigation from WADA and the IOC. Why did he agree to do this thing for this cyclist filmmaker?
It
doesn't make. And
if you're already on the radar,
and the level of disclosure, like he would disclose things, and he would make reference to things that he wasn't willing to disclose in the moment, but were also bad or worse.
If there's no movie, does Grigory come out with this when he's interviewed?
Well, the thing this gets back to the timeline a little bit. So, if the investigation happens and if he is faulted in the investigation, then you're right, he could just disappear. And I mean, when the previous Olympics, when Russia didn't do well, like he was totally on the hot seat, and that's how he ended up nearly committing suicide. Nearly committing suicide. That's where all the depression came from.
He just didn't want to deal with that again.
Yeah.
Felt like...
and then he thought maybe he would be killed
if I failed them by not covering this up better or letting this.
Is that what originally threw him in jail too? Because he wasn't working for the government, right? Why was he originally in jail?
You mean before
they dragged him out to make him the Rusada head?
Oh, I think it was because of the failure of the athletes, and they didn't do well.
They might have just like hit him.
I mean,
with
it was
something.
like
was he just
they didn't do well, and there was like a couple instances of doping that had been found.
But he wasn't a part of Rusada. What was he part of?
He wasn't at the head, though.
Okay, so he was part
of it. That was
of
my understanding.
Yeah,
could be totally
probably like a low-level guy that they're just like, you failed us, we're putting you in jail.
So maybe he was the drug protocol guy, more on the dope side, couldn't get it done, and then got thrown in jail because they did bad, and then they said, all right. But then why did just maybe because his charisma. Why because WADA said, Russia, you're fucking up. This is the only guy we trust as your head, right?
Yeah.
And then that's why Putin supposedly got him out of jail.
But
or they probably thought maybe this guy we can manipulate this guy.
Oh,
and we
maybe
can groom this guy to do what we want.
Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah.
The curious thing is that what he presents to Bryan in the first third of the film about the protocol that he's supposed the doping protocol that he's supposed to be using and freezing his pee and all that stuff, that's all bullshit.
Yeah.
All of the beating the test stuff is complete bullshit because the way they beat the test was opening the unopenable containers and replacing it with clean urine.
No, I don't think it's bullshit. I think the testing protocol of the cycling is different because if you see Armstrong lies, they do more stuff like that.
Yeah, and they're using test prop. They're using fast esters and all that crap.
But my point is the A/B testing or the A/B sample, that's only the Olympics. I don't think
that's only USADA.
It's only USADA and WADA.
They do that even for local. Like if I were still a member of USAW and they came and tested,
it's just blood and pee on the spot.
But they do the A and B piece too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
but my point is that the cycling thing, I don't think was USADA. I think it was just beat the test because it was just an amateur thing. It wasn't an Olympic sport.
Maybe it had to do with the testing itself.
That's what I mean. I think the test because they talk about like Lance. Was they do buses in between to fix your bike or you sleep in the bus in between. He's getting blood injections at night and all this stuff. So I think the whole protocol is just totally different. So I don't think it was smoke. I think it was a different testing protocol that Gregory also knew how to break.
It's just different ways of they don't go into as much secure detail.
Yeah, they don't have a B
it's
test.
Not just the
A/B test is the A/B test is so they have history on the. Like when this popped out, they started testing people from the 80s on the B sample from the Olympics. I don't think they do that for the amateurs.
That's how Ilya Lin, the weightlifter, he got popped on something
Everyone's
from
medals
2012,
getting
from those old samples when they improved the testing, then they have these old samples to fall back on that they can test and pop people for things that they did a decade ago.
Well, that was part of the IOC thing too. They said go back and look at the B samples from London.
Right.
And you'll see that they were dirty. It was only they only got to the A samples to switch them out for clean. And
they said it had some crazy high level of something
sodium.
Salt.
And they checked out. He was right.
Right. I just don't think
all the markings on the bottles. Where they saw these markings are we had basically a bullet matching person come in this is from a machine for sure.
And they had
ballistics
the machine
almost.
Open it. I don't know cycling like the Tour de France, but I don't think that's an Olympic sport.
I know
cycling's in the Olympics, but that's probably it.
But it's like flat track cycling, right? Isn't it just around a track?
No,
they do regular street
road races.
Yeah, I think they do both. But my point is that it's probably a different organization with a different testing protocol.
I know someone who used to compete in races bike races like that. And he said, it was super common. You come in from a leg of a race, and they shoot you up with testosterone, HGH, and insulin.
It's so weird.
The insulin spike shit. That's the most dangerous shit you can do.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous stuff. But he said, and it wasn't. He said it's microdose, whatever. Not microdose exactly, but small doses, and it's every fucking day.
Yeah,
and that's how they had him start. Maybe the craziest part of it for me, looking at it, was that they had him basically using insulin pins and shooting oil subcutaneously, and then telling him, "Oh, it'll be okay." And of course, it bruises.
Yeah.
Of course, it bruises. You're making a pocket of oil between your fascia and the muscle.
I don't know.
I like how they kind of just breezed over. You kind of mentioned this a second ago. They just breezed over the fact that this guy's prescribing these people steroids like that,
because that is common. Because TRT.
Yeah, that's true. Masters athletes can have a certain X amount of TRT.
Even the UFC,
treatment.
You can now, I think. And each league and each organization has their own limit of what it might be. But and I don't know the rules in America versus the world, but you start to get HGH because I have wrinkles, and if the doctor says it's cool, doctor says it's fucking cool.
And it was interesting too how they did a good job because I think some people have a misconception of steroid use. You're just gonna get huge and muscular.
Yeah.
Where it's this shows you more the side of no, this is just gonna absolutely make it seem like you didn't even cycle the day before.
Right.
You're just gonna have fresh legs every day.
Yeah, because I think they talk about
that was essentially like what he was almost doing.
Yeah,
because they talk about pole vaulters, they talk about divers, and people that you don't. Yeah, when you talk weightlifting, powerlifting, you're like, yeah, of course steroids help you. Steroids wouldn't even make you a better baseball player, or golfer. Like, you can't not golf and then take steroids and be a better golfer. But if you're golfing your tits off, there's some substance that won't make it worse. Like, you're only going to get better.
It's like you never, you go play, 18 rounds 4 days in a row, your body's sore. If you're on steroids, your body ain't sore. You're ready to go another 4 days in a row.
Right, and the stronger you are, I don't know how to say this, explain it, but think of it like a video game meter from 0 to 100. And in these golf video games, if you hit 100, your accuracy goes down a little bit. And Dean's accuracy is 300 yards in this video game. Well, if his accuracy, or if his power meter goes to 350 yards, he is able to hit 300 yards more accurately.
Yeah, that's now my.
No, that's
70%.
That's exact. Yeah, that's exact science too.
Yeah,
Dean's smash and 350.
Yeah, 350
bombers.
drives. Yeah, that's in the air too.
Yeah, but that's how it is. That's how it is with throwing, right? You think about Tom Brady's 10-yard completion percentage versus 50-yard. The more power you have. So in golf, if you can let a fucking rip, it's going to be less accurate.
Yeah.
But in the same with cycling, same with darts, probably everything. There's probably some type of substance that will enhance what you're doing.
Adderall for darts, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just right. There's something
hyper focus.
It's just more apparent in weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, right? It's just so on the nose there. But there's and that was the big thing, even with Lance. Like, he's not on steroids, and then people figure out what EPO is or blood doping is, and all these
PEDs in general,
right? An illegal substance that enhances your performance.
Yeah.
I just to bring it around to things that are going on right now. The Kentucky Derby winner just tested positive for something.
The jockey or the horse?
The horse.
Because I think that's
jockeys get popped for steroids too.
I was going to say both of them. I think is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
I think they're both probably juicing. God, poor.
No, I think pretty recently, like within the last few years. Don't quote me on this, but I remember just like hearing some jockey got popped for steroids. I was like, what? That's weird.
I think they're just squeezing the fuck out of the reins and squeezing the fuck out of that horse.
Just like, how hard can you hit him, or how long can you stay like contorted and tight? Like maybe there's like some benefit there.
And there's weight. It's a weight class thing. It's not a weight class thing, but the lighter, stronger you are, the better you are than if you're a $160. If you can be a $120 and just as strong as a $160 guy,
that says trend to me. But that's just
Yeah, I don't know either. But I literally think name an activity or sport. There's going to be a substance that can help.
Bowling, throw the ball harder.
Be more accurate, right? More consistency. It's just like golf. Like, you're fucking swinging your arm around all day. Your shoulder's going to feel better after.
Yeah, I can end up like Tiger and have 10 back surgeries.
Yeah.
Like maybe if he was on a little juice, his back would have been stronger.
Or the different kinds of juices.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Tiger allegations, too.
I mean,
I believe some of those Tiger allegations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the same thing now. A lot of golfers are starting to lift.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
Bryson
it?
DeChambeau and stuff.
It's not going to hurt.
Like gaining the size. He's drinking protein shakes like on the course. It's like, all right, relax.
Yeah. You don't need BCAAs at the turnaround. Just grab your hot dog.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The horse tested positive for an anti-inflammatory.
Yeah. I mean, all that makes sense. Some kind
a corticosteroid, not an anabolic steroid.
Right. But even still, if it's performance enhancing and it's on the don't take list, now it's a PED.
Yeah. Well, some anti-inflammatory would make a human perform better too. That's why we take them.
Again, it would help every single sport, right?
I mean,
you're going to get inflammation from any sport.
Yeah, I don't know any top level weightlifters that I've met over the years that like don't take like some kind of cortisone.
Right.
Yeah. At
for
some
being
point,
beat up.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't think that's even a banned thing.
I don't know either. I think it depends on the exact one or whatever. Yeah, but that's the same thing. My dad in college had like ripped up knees and shoulders, and they're just shooting them up before every game. Probably not the healthiest thing, but it's just what they do.
Like lidocaine, marcaine, and an anti-inflammatory.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some enhanced fancy version that probably is illegal, and some people probably do take it, right? Like there's
we can't even have certain X amount. Some of our sports you can't even have a certain X amount of caffeine in your blood.
Yeah.
Like weightlifting, I know there's like a limit on how much caffeine you can be on to lift.
Right.
Which is interesting.
It is because it is a performance enhancing.
Well, 100%.
Yeah. You're not you feel less pain. You're more driven. You're more hyped. Like there's a bunch of science behind it.
Yeah, there's a lot of science behind creatine.
Yeah.
Caffeine.
Yeah.
Steroids.
And I wonder if there is a limit. Why things are some legal, like I guess it goes down to, certain anabolic steroids are known, probably science and bro science, to have negative side effects, emotionally, physically. Everything you take has effects, right? We claim them to be positive or negative. Mm-hmm. If you want to go bald, then that's a positive side effect of anabolic steroids, right? It's all about intent.
It's like, most people, but yeah.
Right, but I'm just saying.
Are just too big.
It's yeah. I just be banging these things on my bicycle. How do we make these little grapes smaller? But it is perspective, and I know I'm getting a little hippy-dippity, but it is perspective. Point being that the more you take of things, often these are more enhanced. Creatine, there's no enhancement with more of it. Negative or positive. So I wonder if something like that's why it's legal, right? Like you could take 10 grams versus 5 grams a day. You're not getting anything good out of it.
Because it doesn't stick. And
once the muscle's saturated, you're peeing it out. Caffeine, depending on your tolerance and your size and all this stuff, but you take
underlying health issues.
Maybe, but you take 100 milligrams, you take 300 milligrams, like, no, I'm fucking jamming, right? There is an enhancement to more of it, and obviously anabolic steroids dosage is very dosage dependent, I guess is what I'm getting at, and the negative side effects. But going back to Jim's thing, besides combat sports, which I don't know enough about, and there is an argument that they'll just kill each other, right? More powerful. Like, dudes are already getting fucked up. Weidman's leg's done, right? Like, if he's on a bunch of shit, his leg's extra done. I wonder for other sports, is it a moral high ground that people are just like, no steroids, no? And what makes them, obviously steroid for those out there means synthetic hormone. Right. When we think steroids, everyone just thinks test and bodybuilding. There's a million.
There's plenty of performance-enhancing drug that doesn't have anything to do directly with.
And there's steroids, like you said, that are just anti-inflammatories that are not necessarily anabolic.
Like EPO, which is
HGH. There's all these different things. I do wonder why that line. Other countries study it. We make them like fucking class 18 drugs, so we can't even like study them. But other countries study them. Germany, Mexico, all these places study them. Why don't we move that line? We move the weed line. Like, I think the NFL said, or the NBA said, I think the NBA this last month said they're not going to test for weed anymore.
The NFL too.
Maybe the NFL, and then UFC did it a while ago. WADA says you can smoke pot in the off season. It's just you can't be high in competition.
Well, wow. It's totally. With that specific, example is like, I think it's absurd that you're allowed to consume opioids, but you can't do like another another natural thing like.
If your doctor gives you Valium or what, an opioid.
Vicodins or whatever,
you're good.
Oxycontin, whatever.
I think if you show your doctor's card, you're good.
Yeah, but that's okay. But then you can't do, smoke a little weed to like relax your muscles,
or whatever the hell you want to do. Or you can drink whiskey all night.
Yeah, that's
any weightlifter can drink whiskey all night to unwind or whatever the excuse you want to give yourself.
Yeah, I as far as I know, I don't know whether they test for alcohol and all. That's kind of interesting.
I think
cocaine they definitely test for, yes.
Well, I think Bones Jones got busted for cocaine a couple times, right?
I was going to say part of the issue with alcohol and maybe even cocaine, I'm not a specialist in any of this bullshit, I'm an idiot, but might be the testing protocol. You might not be able to test for alcohol beyond 24 hours. Besides, I know there is a hair follicle one, but that's stupid expensive.
For cocaine.
For all that stuff. Maybe that's part of why they do pot.
They probably get
weed
too.
Pot, right? It's like 8 weeks or 4 weeks, but at least it's probably a cheap test, and they could do it, so they said, fuck it, we're going to do it. We will look more legitimate.
You can buy a weed test at the store.
Yeah.
Pretty common.
Yeah, I wonder why. Or I know that, and there's a million different kinds of, again, anabolic steroids, and some are in your system longer and shorter. I wonder if that plays a role in maybe the application of it drives their rules, which it shouldn't. But maybe because they can test, they do. And the EPO was the big one, right? They didn't really have good tests for it, and that's how people were skipping it, I think.
Yeah, it's probably just the fact that they're controlled substances, right? Like, like cocaine and the steroids. It's like a super control. Like the weed is like just now becoming not a controlled substance, but I guess that would be like the common.
Is there other countries where cocaine's totally legal? I know the joke is like Colombia and shit, but is it actually legal there?
I don't think so.
You would imagine not.
I imagine. I mean, they still do enforcement actions.
Amsterdam, and I guess even like
I don't know though.
And what the hell does legal mean now? Because even Oregon, right? Things are decriminalized. Everything's decriminalized.
It's legal, statewide, but it's still federally illegal.
Right. Yeah. In Oregon, right? Like I think literally heroin and meth are decriminalized. Whatever the hell that means.
It's still illegal, but like they're not going to waste time prosecuting you and putting you in jail for using it.
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, self-use isn't as illegal, but if you're a dealer, you're probably going to get popped.
Well, coming back to your point about why it's changed, like. Attitudes like among the public changed about weed. That's the big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's the same thing that happened to same-sex marriage.
Yeah,
like suddenly there was a sea change, and everyone was like, "I'm not so concerned about that anymore. Why don't we just let that go?"
Yeah, and they're on to the next one.
Yeah,
even steroids. I wonder if it's gotten better. I was a youngish, probably Dean too, but like the McGuire stuff, like people acted like in A-Rod or whatever, they acted like he was the goddamn Satan. Yeah. You fucking cheater. Yeah. And then the argument does go like, well, if 50% of the league's taking it, Mark McGuire is already, pretty good.
Yeah. Well,
there was those guys. There was guys there in that era though that were. These guys were hitting twice as many home runs as everybody else.
And
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is just funny to see the before and afters of like those guys in particular, like the McGuires and the Bonds.
Bonds was like 175.
I know, and now you're 210 and fucking yoked and your head's looking like Megamind. Like, what are you doing?
Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco looked really dope.
Forearms,
they look so sick. Dope.
Yeah, they look. But then counter that, like Bo Jackson looks sick.
Yeah,
and maybe he took stuff for all we know.
Probably. Who
knows? Yeah,
what
the hell do we know?
He said no, but there's that whole issue around his hip injury.
I also think that he said that he fucking didn't lift weights either. And Herschel Walker for sure said he didn't lift weights. I'm like, genetics are a thing, but you look fucking insane.
It's a difference.
I lift a lot, and I don't even look 10% as good as you.
Yeah. The hip thing was there's like a necrotic condition that happens with people who take steroids and have some kind of a hip injury or whatever, where they just lose the blood flow into the head of the femur.
I've also heard the Bojack thing, like they do all these stupid calculations, like the power that he let off of his leg to break his own hip basically is just unhuman. Like people can't couldn't do it.
That's because his hip wasn't strong enough to keep up with the rapid growth of his steroid use.
Well, that is such a normal thing. That is such a thing, right? Like everyone wonders, like pec tears, bicep tears happening all the time.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, it's literally a thing out there for those that don't know. Is your muscle bellies are slightly more anabolic than your tendons and ligaments. So a typical sign, not always, depending on training and genetics are a big part of it, but is that your muscles will grow so much that your tendons and ligaments can't keep up. You do something slightly explosive, weightlifting, even powerlifting, anything.
It's almost grabbing a jar. It's almost a guarantee. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's a matter of when it's going to happen. Even to a smaller degree where it's not a total tear, but even like a small rip.
Something's going to give, and a lot of like bro science stuff comes of that. Like don't do 1 rep maxes too often. Well, you can. If you're trained enough for it, you could probably squat heavy every single day and nothing's going to explode. But if you're not trained enough for it and you're squatting heavy singles every single day and you're on anabolic steroids, well, singles don't train the ligaments and tendon as well as reps do. Mm-hmm. So if you're just going heavy singles, you might get a quad tear.
Might pop something.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that everyone who's had a major pec tear,
every single one is on roids.
Not a single one is legit.
No. Yeah. Like it definitely obviously happens to anyone, but it is much more
your probability like triples.
Yeah.
I would think. I don't know. I personally have never known anyone who had a pec tear who wasn't on stuff.
There's certain muscles that are more common.
N equals my circle. So
N equals all of powerlifting. It is often more. I don't know the numbers, but it is more common in tendons, which connect muscle to bone, rather than ligaments, where people are like, "Well, what about the ACL?" Anyone can rip their ACL. It's bone to bone. You can't really train your ACL. You can train movements to protect your ACL, but you can't like girth out your ACL per se.
There was a year in CrossFit, and don't even remember the names of the people. Doesn't even matter to the story. But there was a workout with lots of I think it was like a pull up kind of situation or muscle ups, something like that. And there was a crazy number of pec tears and bicep tears.
Were you there?
Day.
You were there, I assume?
It might have been a regional event. It might have been like during the regionals. I don't even remember who
it was.
But
were you still there to get this info? Because I was going to say a lot of this, and not to talk shit on CrossFit because I've done that a lot.
Oh, no, this is legit.
No, I'm just saying that they hush that stuff. Like, I've never heard this. Like, you were probably there, or people.
This was an internal conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
That people were talking about. It wasn't like this article on Morning Chalk Up or something.
They never
like
talk about it.
No.
They never talk about injuries.
No, not really. And it was kind of interesting because like the chatter amongst people that kind of know like what we're talking about here was like interesting. A lot of these like guys coming out of nowhere, looking really good, putting up these crazy things and all these, very similar injuries happening from pretty basic kind of maneuvers.
Right.
Was kind of interesting.
I've never torn a bicep or pec, and I'm no CrossFitter, but I've done plenty of muscle ups and I do shit tons of pull ups, and it just doesn't really happen.
I think that average people get a little pec minor strain.
Sure.
Usually don't get a pec major tear.
And like a detachment.
Discolors and bruises.
They get a little bit of a bicep tendonitis, tricep tendonitis, whatever, but not a tear.
Yeah, and it is
typically. I don't know. I mean, this is not universal, but it's probably universal.
And it is muscle. It is muscle by muscle too. Like, and this is 100% Mike anecdote. But bicep tear, I don't know the percentage, but likely it can happen natural. Tricep tear, I don't know, man. I don't know a lot of natural dudes that are ripping a tricep off benching, but there are dudes that rip their tricep off benching. Pec, same idea. Can it happen natural?
Is that like? Does that happen on the descent?
I think on the concentric. Yeah,
really?
Guys firing really hard.
Yeah, I have no idea about benching.
Yeah, I think same idea is like their muscles are just more powerful than ligaments, so they're firing that shit off their chest, and their tricep tears away from their elbow a little bit.
Interesting.
Again, not happening to me, probably because my ligaments and tendons are my limiting factor.
They've been progressing evenly.
They keep up. Quad tear, another one. Can a natural person tear a quad? Yeah, dude. Anything's fucking possible. Is it more likely? I don't know. Hammy? Yeah.
There's probably a reason whether it's like poor training.
And I think it's muscle fiber type.
Training.
Yeah. Muscle fiber type, dehydration, fatigue. All these things play a role for everybody to do it, but that main tendon.
It's a very avoidable injury.
Right. I do wonder in CrossFit too, this was I might as well dig in. The people you hear get popped because they do quote unquote report it, although they are self-governed. And I don't know if it's Chalk It Up or what website, but even CrossFit puts it out. Hey, we tested 100 athletes this games and these
or
two
you'll
got
see
popped.
like the athlete themselves, like, random drug test. Picture on Instagram.
Right. But it's them, it's not WADA. And everyone that I've seen got popped. And I'm not as into CrossFit as I used to be. I used to rub elbows with those folks more, and I have some friends in the sport. I still have friends in the sport, but I'm not, it's kind of like the UFC and weightlifting even, where like the talent pool's so big now, like you don't see the same names every year always.
Yeah.
But
and there's a big generational shift going on.
Right. Everyone's more like mine and your age. We're like, all right, let's just get a bicep pump and call it a day now.
Yeah.
But all the people that got popped, and this is again slightly Mike's conspiratorial, but I think it's pretty easy to follow. They weren't big names. Because the big names are selling the tickets. The big names got the Reebok, Nike, No Bull contracts. The big names got these supplement contracts that also have contracts with CrossFit. And whether they sit down and have a meeting of the minds and say, hey, we're not popping so-and-so this year, or it's just kind of a shuffle it under the table, test that guy a little bit less. Oh, give him a break. Oh, I know that sometimes gets triggered by this substance and this supplement and that, okay, we'll just let that one go. It's very rare the big dog, or never actually, not even rare. It never has the big dog in CrossFit.
There's never the big dog's never been.
And
caught.
I'm not saying the big dogs. I'm friends with Ben Smith, hung out with him, and I don't know anything. I've never blood tested the guy, but I think he's natural. And he was quite dominant. I've hung out with him, did some lifting with him.
He also looks a lot different.
Looks a lot different than some guys. And I'm not saying that you can't win the CrossFit Games without being on shit either. I'm just saying that.
But then you look at his brother, Alec.
Yeah. Alec probably looks better, actually, if you go by pure looks.
But with him, though, this is the catch. Like, he looks like some people would look at him and be like, oh, man, that guy's like, you got to be on something. But you didn't see the fact that he started doing this when he was like 10 years old.
Or the youngest brother.
And his body has slowly been turning into this thing.
And he spent years in gymnastics.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And like you see him like, oh, he's getting a little more jacked. He's getting a little bit more filled, but he's still staying lean. And it's like, that's like a 10-year progression to what he looks like now.
Or the youngest, I think, I don't know what Dane did, but when I met him, he was probably 15. He looked like a fucking wrestler.
And he's also a beast weightlifter, I think, before he did it. He was like lifting like some...
Well, I would agree with you. The same thing is that there are three brothers. They literally grew up in the gym or gymnastics, and it's a 10-year progression. All three of them have done the sport forever, rather than maybe the random guy that got popped that just showed up. Or again, I'm not saying the winners, but I'm saying... probably in the top 20, somebody's on some shit, and if they're not popular,
that one guy that got third, that got popped a few years back.
Yeah, I think that was the highest, but he was kind of a new guy.
He was a totally new guy. No one knew who the hell he was.
Yeah,
gets popped. That's fine. And then talks. I think he even mentioned, like, don't quote me on this. Like, I think I might have heard or I saw something that mentioned, like, he said that it didn't. What he was taking, like, doesn't even benefit him.
Yeah.
But then he's never even been anywhere close to where he's been performance wise.
Yeah.
Since then,
everyone always has a bad story. I guess my bigger point is that if Russia can do all of this, you guys don't think that these little organizations or the individual could sneak away some shit? Like, they clearly are trying, and they clearly can.
Well, they also had, like we talked about earlier in Russia, 33 medals.
Yeah.
16 golds.
Yeah.
It's like dominated their previous, years by a long shot. Just by coincidence?
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
And they're in their home showing?
Yeah. Well, it was the home showing, right?
Sochi.
I remember stories coming out about it, and then the World Cup even, right? They mention it in this movie, but I think it happened in
briefly
2018.
Mentioned soccer stuff.
Yeah, because I think 2018, after the movie came out, was the World Cup in Russia, and I remember stories coming out of like people having shitty hotels or shitty food, but I didn't remember anything crazy happening.
The deal with Sam and I were talking about this earlier. The deal with Sochi is that it was a summer resort, not a winter resort, and so everything that they had to do to create it there, and it was all of these Putin crony contractor types that were essentially just getting paid a fortune. Sure. The road in there. This is anecdotal. Sam told me this earlier. I can't pull up a thing, but that it cost about as much as paving it with caviar might have.
Yeah, I've heard of stuff like that where like you're kind of on campus, looks like Disney World, and then you go one street to the left and it's just trash.
Well, it's like how the mafia basically built New York City, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. A moment that struck me, not my big moment. I'm going to have a big moment question in a minute. Yeah. I don't have a lot of structure for this one, but this is a thing. When the WADA meeting where they're talking about it, and Bryan is representing Gregory there, and the one woman who actually like has very angry emotional response about it.
Do we know her country of origin?
She sounded like she was Russian.
That's what I was thinking, but continue.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but that's what the vibe I got.
Based off all the Russian accents we've heard during the documentary, it sounded in line with those, but I don't want to
the one that is behind the laptop,
yeah,
right?
she could also have been German.
Well, and
that tracks a little bit closer with me.
Right,
but
I'm not cultured enough to know the difference.
And Russia, because of the wars and the history, there's a billion countries there that are
different
like
accents.
Russian would say I'm Russian. They speak Russian, but they claim something Georgia and Dagestan.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of countries that basically the humans look very similar. The language is very, very similar. So yeah, who knows? But I'm with Dean. She gave me Russian vibes because she was angry about it and how she
felt like she personally offended, personally attacked.
Yeah. Right. And he turned it around on her fast and said, "Do you realize that he's like he's putting himself and his family at risk by coming forward with this?" But as going back to what we said earlier, he was also trying to protect himself by doing it as well.
This was in his eyes, I think in everybody's eyes, this was his last resort.
Right,
for survival.
The whole thing is really funny, and I forgot what they called it. Not double jeopardy, but they called it something. And I'm sure it's a popular term that I'm just an idiot and don't know. But basically, it is funny how he's in charge of the tests, and secretly he's doing the doping protocol.
Yeah,
and he's secretly breaking the test.
I got that quote from him. It's actually the concept of doublethink is from 1984. And he says, even to understand the word doublethink involves the use of doublethink. I was doing in parallel two things which canceled each other out and being fully contradictory, doping and anti-doping.
Yeah.
But if you want someone to tell you how to beat a test, you talk to the guy who runs the test.
Of course.
It's just like when the FBI hires art thieves to catch an art thief.
Yeah. Or the smog guy that you illegally get your car smogged from. Yeah. Who's going to get you to pass it? Well, the guy that knows. And then if whether he wants to do it illegally and just crosses you off or tells you how to break it.
Or Silence of the Lambs, which I never really got. I never bought that premise. I'm sorry.
Never seen it.
Oh, that's right. This is on our list of movies that Mike hasn't seen.
And it's like horror-y. I don't think I can do it. I don't like 80.
It's psychological.
Yeah, maybe I could do psychological.
It's not like gory or anything.
Yeah. Even the gore does. I don't know.
So my sort of one other before we get into the big. I was shocked to realize that it was Olympic and Paralympic.
Yeah.
But then are you?
I was guess, because
you mean like the effort? That's what I would think.
Maybe that's it.
Because the prestige isn't there. Like, why would you put the effort there?
That's my point exactly.
Okay.
Like,
that's fair.
What national prestige you get out of winning the Paralympic Games?
Which I actually kind of respect.
And that sucks, but it's kind of true.
No, it's just a fact.
There's not the money's not there like it is.
Right.
Or apparently it is actually.
Yeah. Or the television's not there. But which I actually kind of like that the Russians are literally just doing it because like their fucking ego.
This is true.
I kind of like that. Well, like if you're gonna do it, it's because you want to prove you're the fucking best. So be the fucking best.
They didn't Title IX them, I guess. Really, when it comes down to
rather than like pussyfoot. I would respect it less if they just wanted to win one sport.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're just cheating weightlifting. Like, dude, fucking go in.
Yeah, no, they went all in. That's for sure. 33, 36 medals.
Yeah, well, Gregory's opinion's funny too, and which I guess is actually lower than I think. They ask in an interview or meeting how many were cheating from like Sochi or something. He said like 30%. He's like, half of them, 50%. I was like, even that, like 50% of your entire national team aren't taking it. That kind of surprised me. Because you think at that point you would just say everyone, or like when do you choose? Like I guess based on the national average, but like why is Dean getting a bunch of sauce and I'm not getting a bunch of sauce? Why wouldn't you just sauce them all up and make them all win?
Yeah,
or give them the best chance if you already knew how to break it.
And maybe you're putting them all in on the conspiracy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe there is a interview process that like we can give Jim shit, we can't give it to Dean. Dean's gonna go tell.
Well, the clean peas got to come from somewhere.
Yeah,
well, that's a thought too. I don't know.
Oh. Yeah,
well, no,
I think they did it before.
That's the trick. Is
they do it before cycle.
They cycle them off.
Oh, that's right. So it is their pee.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Yeah, maybe it is a psychological who you trust.
Yeah, when it comes down to like if you're, in all the movies, if you're an undercover narcotics agent, you end up having to do the drug because they don't trust you unless you do. So
and maybe Dean brought up a point joking before too, but maybe some of them did think they're getting shot with B12. Who are we? Maybe it is beyond the athlete. I think as Americans we always think like, oh, the individual knows they want to fucking win. Well, but maybe not. Maybe they're being lied to too. It's hard to say.
Say you have this, you get discovered in this small remote town in Russia that you have some athletic ability that you did in school. You get kind of pushed through the system there. Yeah. And you're just told that this is what you're doing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's just like, it's a little different here, with these like small rural places, maybe in the United States are a little different than like the mountains of Russia.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you're just kind of like, this is your path in life. This is what you're doing. And the family has nothing to really do about it. They're just probably just going to go with it. Kids getting stuff or whatever. You know?
The same as you go into college and your basketball coach has your warm-up jersey, you have like 3 different travel pants and you get shoes. Maybe you just get a shot and say, hey, these are your supplements. These are what weightlifter supplements take. Yeah. Maybe they have no idea.
Yeah. Well, something he said that actually falls along the lines of the double thing too is he said slavery was my freedom.
Yeah, to work for the company out of jail. Yeah, wait, that whole jail, potential suicide, mental health hit me again harder in this one than I think the first one. In the first one, I just said there's no fucking way Grigory's wrong, and in this one, there's 5 to 15%. I'm like, well, maybe Grigory is a little delusional, and who knows? Because I just don't know.
Yeah, like, no, you never. That's the beauty of this documentary. Though, is like. On anything like this, I guess is like there's always that interpretation of like who knows?
Yeah, and I hate to be the woke
Putin's
guy.
Still in jail, or Putin's still out doing his thing. Like no one's in trouble.
Or almost opposite to that. Yeah, I don't want to be like the woke guy, but like, what if our propaganda is that Russians all cheaters? You know what I mean? Like we've always been taught that because of the wars we've been in and in sports.
Reverse propaganda on us.
On us, kind of like Americans are raised thinking China and Russia are so whatever, and even in our little niche, the first thing when we get into lifting, like Russians are all on steroids, Americans are clean. Like you always think that, and we're always shoveled that down my mouth. And again, I don't want to be that woke kid that like America's so great.
Well, it's just a free thinking idea.
It's just possible that. Maybe Russia doesn't cheat as bad as we think, and maybe Grigory did have some schizophrenia about him, and his reality was warped. Maybe.
I'm going to bring up a phrase that I've been hearing almost my whole life, and now much more common lately. 2 things can be equally true.
Right. I guess in my woke moment, and this sounds so dumb, and I'm probably going to get fired for this. I'm in like early 20s, and I'm hanging out with some Canadian friends. We won't mention names. And I don't know if it's you, Dean, Jim, you're timeline's a little different, but like growing up I always heard Cuba's so dangerous, like to visit. Like I knew it was illegal, but I also heard it was dangerous. And some Canadian friends in my early 20s said like, what? Like that's American propaganda. And I was like, I've never heard of American propaganda. Like America's not supposed to have propaganda, right? Like we're not supposed to have that, right? Obviously we do of some nature. It's just to what degree.
Turn on the news.
Right. Especially, I think now everyone knows it's gotten worse and worse. There used to be like journalism rules and like unspoken rules and real rules, and now shit's wild. It's wild, wild west. There's more opinion pieces than reporting.
Like, I don't want to catch you off track. But I don't want to feel like there's like that one thing with Training Day, Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
You seen that interview? He talks about, and he's like, the integrity of the news got destroyed when it was all about speed and getting stories out before they would fact check anything.
Right.
He's like,
Right.
that's what's happening.
It's getting worse because
It's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Right.
It's all about speed, and it's not about like what's true and
No,
what's
it's
not.
clicks. It's you're not reporting
So-
the news. You're getting views.
And the news doesn't care who it affects negatively.
Right.
And that's kind of like the whole premise of like, and it's just only getting worse every day.
Right, and it's only getting worse with
It's
technology.
all about speed, speed,
Right.
speed.
But
Anyways.
basically, my Canadian friend said like tons of Canadians vacation in Cuba for the last 100 years, and it's been awesome. I've been there 3 times. I said, okay, and that's what
It's mostly political.
Right.
It's
Right,
mostly
which
political.
obviously that's a quote unquote enemy of ours.
If back before Obama tried to back off the divide between America and Cuba,
yeah,
I had friends who you can go to
right, through Mexico
or
Puerto Rico, right?
or one
Yeah.
of the Bahamas.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like one of those
Yeah, just
one of those
float
Caribbean
over. Yeah.
and just go. And yeah, I heard
yeah, it's awesome.
perfectly great stories.
Yeah, I heard it's awesome.
Yeah. And some weird. There's also some weird shit possible
Sure,
there that
sure.
is not possible here
Sure.
without it being on the front page of a paper.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another.
Point being that gave me 10% belief that Grigory, and I like Grigory a lot, you know, and I do believe that even our government, which we're not going to dig into here because it's probably a little too close to 3 of us, not our government, but our USADA bends rules to make our teams better. There's no shot in my mind. I know for facts, and I'll tell Dean off air, that it happens. And to me, I think, and maybe this is, I know I'm normally never black and white, but to me, I think, in regards to sport only, I'm not going to go into laws and murder and whatever, but in sport only, if you break a rule, you break a rule. In life, I don't think it works that way. Stealing is obviously not as bad as murder in my moral compass, but in sport, I think it is. I think if you're grabbing my jersey, you might as well be on roids because that is cheating. Cheating is cheating in a sport, and the result may be different. One may be a foul, you grabbing my jersey, and one you taking roids would be you disqualified from my basketball league. Perhaps, but cheating is cheating in sport to me, and so I'm just not convinced. One, that Russia's the only one doing this.
No, that's definitely.
Well, no. I think it might be. Maybe it was the most involved,
or maybe the longest years. I mean,
maybe
they did
the
it
most
for 50
successful
years.
operation.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe
but-
the deepest.
Yeah.
The deepest.
Yeah.
And the most extreme, perhaps, measures. And then I'm not fully convinced that Grigory didn't maybe bend lies, and I don't necessarily know why. Maybe it is a mental health thing.
You never know.
Yeah, you don't know. I think,
Well, I think-
where the first time I watched it, I knew Grigory's the fucking freedom
There was
fighter,
just-
and Russia's a piece of shit. And the second time, I don't know.
I just go back to the. We didn't even really mention this. Actually, I forgot to mention that. What was it? The IWF was just, or who was it? The Olympic Committee was just like.
IOC.
IOC was just like,
Yeah,
We're gonna let him in.
Let him in.
Yeah.
we don't really care about what WADA said.
But then there could be a whole documentary on that. Like, why is that? Is there money?
What
Is there
happened in
money?
between there? Oh, 100.
There's money involved.
100%.
There's ratings involved. Because what do you want to see? You want to see Russia go head to head with China, with a fucking America. Like, you need that for the Olympics and any Olympics. Like, that's the story.
Has the time of the Olympics just passed? This is a longer question for probably another episode, but I think that the answer might be yes, at least in terms of having it be in different countries every 4 years, or it's every 2 years now between winter and summer, because of the tremendous waste associated with building the facilities.
Economically, it doesn't help folks.
Abandoning them, it hurts the countries that host. They don't make money unless they're the United States.
Yeah, big country.
And we use things that already exist.
Right.
I mean,
But
we should be probably over it or doing it some other way at this point.
yeah, when you think logically, it doesn't make sense.
Well,
But I agree. But I do love it.
No, for sure. I love watching it too. But then you got to go into like even the deeper, darker side of like these countries that are doing it, and how just where it's going to be is manipulated by money and people that are in charge of those small little countries trying to get it, because they're going to take a huge chunk of that money for personal gain that's supposed to be going into these builds, and they're just destroying their country just to make a quick $10 million in their bank account. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The whole thing of it, just like maybe there's only a certain allotment of, big economic powerhouses that can host it. Maybe that's the answer, or is that not fair? Or is that like
but what
does
is
that become
fair?
like racial or like an unfair? You know what I'm saying? Like
no, 100%.
It's not an easy answer. That's why there's such a problem. But
what do they really do? How do they just choose anyone? Like it seems like it's always big countries.
Yeah, they had to put together a bid, and some of it is
that already eliminates half the countries in the world.
Yeah, budget and building facilities and roads,
airports,
food,
even
lodging.
Here. I mean, that's a big thing. Way trickled down is every stadium that is built, particularly basketball arenas, typically the all-star game in the NBA likes to go there within the next 5 years because it's cool and show it off.
We haven't had it yet.
We haven't had it because we don't have the hotels. And they count, and it evolves. The rules evolve. They do an okay job, but they need a certain amount of hotel rooms plus Airbnbs within 5 or 10 miles of the stadium, and we just didn't hit that yet.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot of hotels.
We don't have enough. I think we're popping up 2 or 3 right now because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
To get us an all-star game, I think we had some NC2A tournaments recently, which was really cool. I went to one of those, but there's a lot of random factors. But to the point, it eliminates half the world, and then the politics within that, like they're not going to go to Russia and then ignore the U.S. and then you're showing sides, and then I don't know the answer.
I don't either. Okay, so to kind of bring this one in,
did you say your big moment?
This is This is like your oh shit moment of the whole thing.
Yeah,
this can be the way a story was, or a revelation in the story, the way the story was revealed, or a moment of filmmaking that just got you. And mine is the latter. So, Dean, you want to go first?
If you're not ready, I can steal something.
I think I'm ready. I'm gonna probably say when it's kind of. I mean, honestly, it's kind of at the beginning, but like when this guy was willing to just flash of an eye to start taking steroids.
Yeah.
Just to see if it would be an advantage. Like having that guy making that choice to me early in the film before it took an entirely different direction to like do this study and like document it to me was like, oh, this is pretty wild.
I don't think they dug in enough to Fogel. Like they didn't tell us his age, but I'm guessing late 30s, mid 30s.
He looks like mid to mid 30s.
But what they do dig in a little, they scrape the surface of like I think he's a cycler. Didn't he talk about college and wanting to go pro and he said an injury.
He's never made it.
Yeah, he's like, I wanted to make it, but then I had this injury and then I'm not good enough. And then it's like, I think this guy's fucking about it.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you. Like in the movie, what they show is like he woke up one day and said, fuck it, I want to do better.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had a little internal battle, but even being in the industry like we are, I'm like you, like I think 50% of people really debate what the fuck they're doing and take it super serious, which I think everyone should take it serious because we know it's body, life, and mental altering.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there's 50 whatever percent that just say, fuck it, dude, I'm trying to bench 405.
Yeah. And that was kind of, and that's to kind of give some variety maybe to this, this topic. But like, I think that was definitely still one of those moments I was like, oh, wow, like this is going to be good.
I don't know if I
can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if I forgot it or not, but one of my moments was that he took a bunch of shit and he lost. He did worse. And obviously they mention it quickly like, oh, my bike malfunctioned. And that's what he's telling Gregory, like, my bike broke. But I'm
that's
like,
one leg.
Yeah, it's one leg. And
but he was in like top 10 before that, though, wasn't he?
Yeah. And what they don't dig into is like the mental aspect of the sport. Maybe placebo stuff can go any way. Like maybe...
you didn't think he had to work as hard because he was on steroids,
right? So he
100%.
He wasn't visualizing as much, wasn't as competitive.
Wasn't as driven. Maybe
he thought he was just going to smoke it. Where you hear opposite, and obviously I've never taken a bunch of stuff, so I can't say. But you hear the opposite, where people are on a bunch of shit and then they start working really hard and have like extreme results in the gym because they feel mentally the steroids before they physically feel the steroids. Like steroids work on a cellular level, as all things do. People take steroids in a week and fucking hit PRs.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, the steroids aren't working yet.
Yeah.
Timmy, like your muscle.
And typically the first thing that happens is that people's rep strength improves.
Right.
First, you know?
Yeah. And so point being, maybe the mental kind of worked against him a little bit.
Yeah.
And obviously the bicycle thing. And we talked earlier about there's being variables, but that was one early thing that popped out. And then I guess the big revelation was my wokeness of maybe Gregory's a fucking lunatic, poor guy.
Yeah.
It looks like he was probably about 42, 43.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he was 45 in 2018. So
he definitely was like on like a legit TRT replacement then.
Yeah,
and
it was
then they probably
easy to
just bumped those numbers up
probably easy to get.
illegally.
What was like Lance when he was kicking ass? 30s?
Yeah,
like what's the prime of a cycler? I guess I don't know about cycling.
Probably 30s, early 30s.
Yeah, because it's not that explosive in a sense. So you could probably get better You know what I mean?
It's endurance.
It's like golf. Like golf, you can be really fucking good at 45.
Yeah.
How much does this, just as an aside, how much does this connect back to the documentary that we did about buying followers and buying likes and fake famous
in terms of like steroids?
Oh. Yeah, because you buy
fake
this,
weights.
you're gonna get that. You may not actually catch on and become like famous from whatever, but you know that you're gonna change the numbers.
Yeah, the chances are gonna be better.
Yeah. So my oh shit moment in the whole thing really jumped out at me, and it was a filmmaking thing. It was an editing thing. There's a moment when the sort of dark undercurrent of what the Russian state might do to him that starts to build up.
Yeah.
And then there was this shot of the Olympic flame, but it was super close of the flame itself, and you could see like the jets of it, whatever. And it made me think of a crematorium so hard. And I thought, oh my God, that's dark. Like who threw that in there? That's super dark. That's not there to represent the Olympic ideal or everything. That is a harbinger of danger, like mortal danger.
Going back to me saying this was, I think, the best documentary I've ever seen is stuff like that, where even in the beginning, the general shots are in the daytime. They're lighter. Gregory's smiling. They're talking about he's got his fucking dog and he's throwing it around. And then you get to like chapters 2 and 3. Things are a little bit darker. Even when he like walks him into his hidden apartment.
Back alley Airbnb.
Yeah, they show it back alley. It's a little shittier camera. The light in general looks a little bit darker. And when they start talking about the Olympics, all of a sudden you kind of feel a darkness around all the sport.
Yeah.
Like everything just kind of feels everything's kind of cheating.
Well, then they're showing the war footage, right?
Yeah. They kind of do all that really well.
After that, and then remember, even Gregory mentions that he almost felt somewhat responsible for Putin having such a big ego boost and aggressive nature from just coming off this huge Olympic powerhouse victory for his country, to then aggressively attack another country right after. Was it 15 days after the Olympics? I think he started something like that.
Yeah, because it does. I mean,
and he felt like a little responsible for that, and that could have been the crazy in him too.
It is very human nature. You hit a PR, you're walking with your chest higher in the day.
Oh yeah,
you win a basketball game, I'm swagging.
You're
the next
peeling
day
out
at
of the
school.
parking lot.
Yeah, I'm going to In-N-Out. We used to high school basketball. There's only like 2 In-N-Outs in the suburbs, and both teams would end up there after the game because the game's 10 at night. And the demeanor of the cats that I just whooped their ass is much different than mine. I'm laughing. I'm chugging milkshakes. Yeah. Girls all around this. It felt like a movie.
Burgers for me and my friends.
Yeah. That's what it felt like. Yeah. You felt like you popped the bottles in the club after a UFC fight. Reality was not that. I'm budgeting my single patty instead of my double patty. But, that's such a real thing. And for it to be scaled to the Olympics and politics and war is not that much of a stretch when you think about it.
Yeah.
Not at all, especially with that crazy fuck.
And even here, like there's kind of a vibe around the Olympics, like every house you go to in this. I just remember one summer, it must have been 2012. Was that the Olympics or 10? Whatever summer that is. I'm kind of early 20s. And I'm freaking, this is like the only time I was ever social in my life. And we're going up to Tahoe. One of my friends had a cabin, and then I float over to another friend's, and they got an Airbnb. And then I'm floating down here to my parents, and everyone's over at the pool. And the Olympics were on at every house. And it was like a 2-week span that I'm just traveling Northern California, hanging out with my bros. Mm-hmm. And everyone kind of has like, we're whooping ass. It's kind of the Michael Phelps era. Everyone's kind of just feeling good. There's my mom's making red, white, and blue cakes. And, there's a kind of a vibe you get.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
As just a regular person, it really is great. It feels so
part
good.
of our identity. And that goes, it's funny. It's like one of the only things maybe the only thing that everybody feels that what you're talking about all over the entire world.
I think
at
so
the same
too.
time.
I think so too. Even if
that
your
energy and vibe is just in the
the parade of athletes and the whole opening ceremonies thing. Who does not get choked up at that shit?
No, everybody loves it, and obviously the vibe probably varies per country. But even here, even though we whoop ass in a lot of things, we just grab Michael Phelps and we're like, fuck yeah. Even if you're little, whatever, Argentina, and you're only winning jiu-jitsu, you're still tagging onto that jiu-jitsu guy like he's fucking Michael Phelps.
Or you bet your ass everybody's watching. Every bar in that country has it on. Like
in each country, even I'm making some up, but some small country in West Africa that's never won a medal, but they finally got a guy into skiing.
Yeah, they got a bid. Someone's in there.
Someone's in there. They're
the Jamaican bobsled team.
They're fucking all about cool runnings. Like they're about it, And so like there is something egotistical that really does make it kind of nationalistic for every country around the world, like you said.
I always forget that that's like actually based off like real group
like
people.
real thing.
And it's such a good movie.
It really is. I need to rewatch. That's a
it's
good
on
rewatch.
Disney. That's the best thing about Disney Plus is shit like that's on.
Is that on there?
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
Oh wow, that is clutch.
Yeah, I watched like all the Mighty Ducks in a row. Like,
I need to watch that new series.
The Mighty Ducks one.
Yeah,
I tried. I tried, dude. I wanted to. What's his name's really good.
Emilio Estevez.
Bombay. Yeah, Bombay. Coach Bombay.
Emilio. I was like, Emilio.
Yeah, Coach Bombay was good, but the rest of it just feels it feels too Disney now. It feels like too corny.
Okay, it feels like a Miley Cyrus or
yeah,
something
the mom,
like
that mom in it, she's like a mom in every show ever. If you saw her face, and she just plays like the most typical mom.
That's like Bad News Bears doesn't work on any other platform because it was dirty. Oh my god, it was dirty.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah.
In summary, I would like to say that in Soviet Russia, drugs test you.
Yes, it's true. Roards fork you.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, kind of like Pumping Iron, I think we talked, and I was surprised how many quote unquote meatheads hadn't really watched it. This one even more so, because I think this one spans from meathead into anybody.
I hadn't seen it, and I'm in its steroid documentary. So
this one I think is so good. Check it out. Re-listen to this. Check it out again.
It's what, 2 hours? Solid 2 hours.
Yeah,
solid
it's pretty
hours,
long, but it moves pretty good
because it moves good because it grabs you,
and there's different chunks. And the story's fast despite the movie spanning a long time. Yeah, and spanning like 3 years. So check it out.
Where can people find you, Dean?
Yes, at deanstedoris.ck, at Caffeine and Kilos. If you're interested in coffee and workout stuff,
get hyped up.
We got some of that stuff over there.
CaffeineandKilos.com.
Yeah,
there you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3sb.co. Appreciate you. And I'm Silent Mike. We're jamming. If you're in Sacramento, stop by the gym. We may have a party with all of us June 20th. So put that on your calendar. Head to Sacramento.
Block party, baby.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the summer block party. The summer Fit Expo Fit block.
You know what it is? Mike? It's a Get Fit summer.
It's a Get Fit. What are they saying? They're not saying like hot chick summer. There's something else they're saying.
White boy summer, and please.
Is it white boy summer?
Yeah, it's.
What does that even mean?
Chet Hanks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Chet Hanks.
And then he was catching some flack, so then he expanded it.
It's
he did a good
multicolored summer.
Oh, he's got any group. He's got a shirt now. He's
got the United Colors of Benetton summer.
We'll make up our own. Yeah, it could be a fit block summer.
Fit or fart. Anyway,
yeah.
Check out 3sb.co for things that we sell. Check out 50percentfacts.com where percent is a word, 50 is just numbers. I am at the Jim McD on all the social medias, and we will catch you next time.